Look at me, sure. I'm the captain.
Captain James! Howe!
Hey, you guys! Welcome to Rated Aargh. Thank you for joining us on another adventure as we chart our course through the realms of cinematic piracy. We're kicking off year 3 of the show with a 1985 cult classic, The Goonies. My name is Ryan, and please join me in welcoming my co-captains Christian and Braxton. And joining us this month to discuss this wonderful film, we have our good friend and first mate, Drew. Drew, we're excited to have you joining us. Man, excited to talk about some Goonies with you.
Booty. I just had to say a pirate word to get it over.
Hey, man, that's a good one. That's Braxton's probably favorite pirate word.
That's one of our favorite words here.
Braxton's
That's on
big,
bingo.
Yeah, Braxton's.
If they say the word booty.
That's true. That is true. Braxton's a big fan of booty.
Well,
both.
We're setting booty traps.
Yeah,
exactly.
both in pirate form and just in general. So just throwing it out there. But yeah, everybody doing good. It's been a little while since we've gotten to record. I think last time I was in Wyoming. Whenever we recorded. So
this movie's been on the list for a while.
It has.
One of the first ones we suggested, but it wasn't one that we didn't want to start with. I don't think, because it is very integral to the plot and spirit of the movie. But I will say it's primary but secondary at the same time.
In terms of like pirates,
piratiness, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But
statement.
I think it's time, to talk about.
I mean, dude, it's a good way to start the third year, man. Like, this is just a good movie. We've watched some real stinkers in year 2 on Tubi and such.
Yes.
And, we've watched some that we thought were going to have a lot to do with pirates and then ended up maybe not having so much to do with pirates. So, yeah, Goonies is, a great way to start off the year for sure. Christian, any thoughts on the Goonies?
I like the fact that it does incorporate a pirate. But I think this is one of the coolest youth adventure movies, and I think we're missing that now, is that there are not a lot of movies that come out anymore about kids just having fun. And I don't know, that's why I think part of the reason that this got so big is that it kind of inspired a whole generation. If I would have seen that as a kid, that is exactly what I would have done. I would have gone over to Braxton's, we would have walked out into the woods and started looking for a treasure on our own.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of wonder, is it because of the way that our society is today that we're not getting some of these adventure movies with children focused, where they're going out and I don't know. I mean, there's so many, especially in the 80s. I mean, this movie's 1985. But I don't know. I mean, growing up, I feel like we probably played a lot of video games. Now, everybody's on their phones. Is that something that has maybe gone by the wayside? It's just children going out and hiking around in the woods and stuff. And so we don't see it on the screen either.
Yeah, it's also dangerous. It's a very dangerous movie when you think about it.
Yes, it is.
Drew, is this something that you would have done when you were a kid?
Yes.
If you had found a map that was first thing, you were like, I'm going to find this sucker.
Well, my friends and my wife would think that when I was a kid, I would have actually been Chunk.
Okay.
I would have been the guy, it's time to go home, we're going to get in trouble. But I'm there along for the adventure the whole time, That never stopped me, but I'm going to be vocal about, this or that. But now growing up, both houses I grew up in, and even during the summer traveling and stuff like that, both houses I grew up in, was surrounded by, woods. And the second house where I was there from first grade, and even until I was up into college, we lived there and there was a huge mountain behind our house and a creek and all these caves and stuff like that. And we would spend hours down there, just down the mountain from the house, exploring and going around and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I would have I could have seen myself being enlisted in some sort of hijinks adventure looking for the treasure of Eyed Willy for sure.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, I remember very vividly we would have family reunions actually not too far from where I live, and there was kind of this big hill that we would go sled down, but you had to walk down the street and go across this big creek, and you had to walk through the woods and stuff to get over to this place. And like it was just some building like in Rusk that we could. I'm pretty sure it was like a food service place or something. So they had like these, like plastic trays that they had thrown out at some point that were just like back there that we pulled out of the dumpster, or they had cardboard from boxes and stuff. And we would just kind of pull out, whatever we could find and go and like sled down the hill and stuff. But I just remember being like, like 7 or 8 years old, and my big cousins are taking me down the street and we go across this creek. And like, I just remember that being like such a big adventure at the time. And it seemed like we walked forever, and we probably walked less than half a mile. So, I mean, just, super fun, man. We didn't get on bikes or anything and, go halfway across town or anything like they do in the Goonies. But, I mean, it felt like a very Goonie-esque adventure, I would say.
Yeah. That's part of what I got out of this movie, is that I'm not convinced that it is like a reality set in stone, or if this is a movie about like this imagination of a young friend group to where like everything is heightened.
This is the fantasy of
this. Yeah, this is the story out. That even if it's a normal day and you don't do that much, like this is the stories you come home with
that you that you played basically. Yeah, for sure. It's
like you literally just like went
what
down
if you
the
went
street
out and played, but then it was like it became real. Like the adventure thing that you're playing became real.
Yeah, and anything that you find, is a gigantic deal. Like, we found this hole out in the middle of the forest, and we're pretty sure that something lives there. We don't really know what, but next time we're going to go back and see if we can find it. And you probably never will, but, it's sort of the, like, treasure map, like, adventure kind of deal is like, oh, we can turn anything into this, like, monumental thing that we either, like, sort of solve or we continue to go back to. And I feel like that's sort of how this movie is. Yeah.
In like the bottom of the wishing well, and you're like, this was my wish, and I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back. This is my monologue.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into a little bit about the Goonies. So the Goonies was released on June 7th, 1985 with a budget of $19 million. The Goonies directed by Richard Donner and written by Chris Columbus and Steven Spielberg. The film stars Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, Jeff Cohen, Corey Feldman, Cary Glenn, Martha Plimpton, Kiwi Kwan, and John Matuszak as Sloth. Pretty big cast for the Goonies, which I think maybe is one of the things that people really like about this movie is there's a lot of people involved, and they all have such different personalities, and everyone can kind of relate to somebody. The Goonies brought in $65 million at the worldwide box office, which made it the 7th highest grossing film in 1985, behind Back to the Future, Beverly Hills Cop, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Rocky IV, Cocoon, and Witness. Several of those movies I've never even heard of. So interesting that this is number 7, but very successful movie for sure in terms of revenue. While the Goonies didn't win any notable awards that year, it did win the hearts of many. Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 77% critic score, a 90% audience score. It's a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 3.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So pretty good reviews across the board in terms of how people have received the Goonies. Any thoughts on the reviews?
I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't care about awards.
The main complaint that
Did
I've
win
ever
your
heard
heart,
about
though,
this
Drew.
movie
Won your heart.
is people will be like, the kids are loud and they talk over each other.
They do. That's how children are, though.
To some people, they like that makes them disown this movie and like hate it. I never really got that because that's how kids like talk. Like it's probably seems really really real.
Yeah. I would say that was probably the first time I watched it, because I don't remember ever watching this as a kid. We had friends over to watch this for my first time, like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And so, yeah, I mean, you can give me a hard time all you want, but I've seen it now twice.
No. I did. Did you say that?
What?
When we watched it, did you say that?
What?
About the kids yelling?
Well, that was my takeaway from the first time I watched it. Was like it's really good, but like the kids are just kind of annoying. Yeah.
I swear I didn't know that. I remember that. That really is what people online like say when people do have a negative about this movie. It's that basically.
Mm-hmm. I
didn't know that you said that.
Yeah, that was my negative takeaway from the Goonies. I think actually I looked back when I went to log this on Letterboxd again, and I'd given it 4 stars the first time I watched it. I gave it 4.5 this time. I mean, I don't have the nostalgia factor maybe to make it a 5-star movie, and it's really good. But like this is not, in terms of like my own personal like movie rankings, this is not like one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. It's a lot of fun. It's a great movie, but like I know that there's a huge nostalgia factor in terms of how people feel about this movie. Drew, I'm pretty sure that you are one who has watched this as a kid and is a huge fan. So take it away.
I've got the movie memorized just about. I watched it a ton growing up, and I didn't realize that it was released in the summer. I guess that was something I never paid attention to. So that's like the perfect summer adventure movie. And kids in '85. So I'm a '91 kid, and I grew up adventuring outside, so that was just perfect. That movie spoke to the heart of children everywhere. And any kid that doesn't like pirates, I'm not gonna go. You should like pirates if you're a kid. I don't know. Like, hello, it's just a great adventure movie. And I see online all the time, hey, generation this and this, did y'all really just ride your bikes around and go out in the woods? And I was like, yeah, we really did. And I was like late to that. I didn't. My city wasn't the kind of town you ride your bicycles around everywhere, but like we're at our friend's house. Our friend lives like a half mile or mile from there. Yeah, we're gonna ride our bike to our friend's house. Yeah, so the movie spoke to the kids when it came out, and anyone that complains about the kids is like, I was thinking that I was watching one scene where a bunch of the kids are in the Lighthouse restaurant, and I don't remember who kind of bursts through the door and interrupts what they're doing. And they were just over there like kind of talking in the corner all huddled up. And I said, I bet that wasn't even scripted. They probably just kind of just started rolling the camera and the kids are talking like normal kids and they got scared by who came in the door or whatever. I think Chunk burst through the door at that point.
I think that is true. Yeah, I think that was because one of the interesting things about this house is I think all of the scenes that are shot at the like Goonies house were actually shot at the house except for when they go to the attic. And I think that was like a set that they had staged.
Really?
But everything else, they had like this like legitimate house that I don't know if they bought or if they rented it out or how exactly like they went about actually acquiring it. But yeah, like it was a house that was lived in. Like they were, in and out of there all the time. So like I think the director maybe said, that scene where Chunk comes up to the fence and he's like, "Let me in, guys," and they have the the bowling ball that rolls and it knocks this thing down and it knocks this it essentially was like, we've done this a ton of times, like I've been through this gate, I know how this works, and like that was a pretty like real interaction, I think, what they got on camera rather than hey, we need you to walk up to this fence and yell at these guys. I think like that was just kind of the way that you entered the house, which was kind of neat. But yeah,
or you crash through the screen door in your zip line.
Yeah, dude. Right. And apparently that's a pretty common thing in this movie. They're like, hey, open the screen door. Like, stop crashing through the screen door.
Use the back door next time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you wonder like how many times that Data has gone through this door, because. That does not seem like it would be something that would be fun to be replaced, especially because they live in the Boondocks, which is the poorer part of Astoria. So, they're struggling for money to begin with. I'm sure replacing a screen door over and over again is not, super cost effective in terms of how much income that they have. But yeah, no, super fun movie, man. There's so many moments in this that stand out. But yeah, I think the first time I watched it, the kids talking, I feel like kind of threw me off. And Braxton, I would be interested to know how many people who have that opinion do not have children, or are around children a lot, because I feel like parents that watch this would probably, take the stance of, I mean, yeah, that's how my kids are. Like, it's super relatable for them, rather than being like, oh, the kids are so annoying, they just talk over each other and yell and run around and blah 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 blah. So I don't know. I having 4 kittens now, man. I mean, they don't, necessarily talk over each other and, but they're pretty rambunctious, man. And they're like all over each other. Yeah. And if one is trying to sleep, another one will like bite it and wake it up. And it's just a constant struggle, man. I can't even imagine how it would be having, 4 12-year-old boys or something, however old these kids are in this movie. Yeah. Just running about, pretty much unsupervised for the most part. Mm-hmm. I mean, am I wrong? Like,
no, that's how it was when I was growing up.
Yeah, I think Brand is maybe supposed to be the one that's like watching them, and he's not doing a great job of that. No. So, I mean, for the most part, I was supervised growing up, but I know that's not the case. I know my dad and them, like, they just kind of went all over the place. I'm sure y'all's parents the same way. Drew, it sounds like you lived that yourself.
Halfway, yeah, for sure. Well, like when we were growing up, it's like the scene where, Data crashed in the mall. Oh, use the back. That was me and my friends. We were in and out of each other's house like we owned the places.
You crashed
if my friends if my friends came to my house, they're letting themselves into our fridge and pantry. If I go to my friend's house, there's a snack in there with my name on. It's just kind of how it was. And,
man. No,
and then just the adventuring around and stuff like that was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not to the extent of the Goonies, some of those like 80s adventure movies and like stuff maybe my parents and the generation did, but I was definitely part of that last generation where we did a ton of stuff like that. So, yeah.
Especially if they live close, man. A lot of times, you wouldn't even like say, hey, like, are you busy? Which at that time, like, you didn't have cell phones and stuff. It wasn't as easy to just like text somebody and say, hey, are you free? Like, you would just literally go and most likely not even knock on the door. You would just walk into one of your friends' house and be like, hey, is such and such here? And their parents would be like, yeah, he's back in his room, or no, come back later. So
that's how it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's I don't know. That's how I was with most of my friends. So it's funny whenever somebody like Matthew, even that we've had on the podcast. He's one of our good friends. Like, he'll come over, and I think he finally has gotten to where he will just like walk into my house, but like for a long time he would just like knock on the door, and I'm like, bro, just walk in. Like, I have the door open. Like, just come in. Like, I'm expecting you to be here. So it's just funny.
Not many kids movies. Well, let me say this now. A real self-respecting kids movie starts with a fake hanging. That's what I always say. Which every time this movie starts, I'm like, oh, yep, forgot that. Okay.
That is true. That is true. It is crazy that you could have this movie without the Fratellis at all.
I know. Yeah, you could. I think the only reason ultimately that they're there, which I don't know, I feel like in all like kids movies, right, it makes more sense to have a villain type, even if they're not really a villain. In this movie, they are, but I also feel like they're only there because there's that moment where they're going to go down to the thing, and it is that thing of like, if the Fratellis weren't there, even though like they're trying to save their homes and stuff, it's that moment of like, if you were a kid, would you really go into that cave? You know what I mean? And so they kind of force them to start and then continue the journey. Because at the beginning they're really scared, and then it's at the point of when they're in the well, it transitions more into, no, we're down here, we're gonna find the treasure, and it wasn't really that in like the restaurant in the beginning of the cave.
Do you think that the Fratellis add some like tension that maybe wouldn't be there? Because I mean, for the most part, like them going through like the tunnels and stuff, like they're not really in that much danger at any point. I mean, if they weren't being chased, like sometimes
if they come up on a dangerous trap that could kill them, they could just go back up the way they came.
The piano scene would have been fundamentally different without the Fratellis being right there.
That is true.
Yeah, fundamentally different. And then I guess some of the scenes at the end of the movie, with them on the ship and everything.
Yeah, and you get Sloth.
Yeah,
it's true.
Which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sloth is fantastic, man. I mean, I don't know. He just delivers some of the most memorable lines, and he really stands out just because they did make him look, the way he did, kind of deformed, and
I still sometimes wonder why they did that. It was such a weird thing, and at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, I dropped on your head once or twice.
Yeah, that's the craziest part to me. Like the prosthetics, it's like, okay, sure, I can wrap my head around what they were trying to do. And then it's like, yeah, you're dropping your head as a kid. Like, what?
Like that's
Just
really
once, maybe twice.
yeah, that's really the extent of your eye being like down here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm sure every child was dropped once or twice, and they do not end up like that. So
Man.
it's pretty great. But yeah, man,
I do still say Rocky Road and
Rocky.
Babe Ruth when I see it. Like,
guys.
I can do a perfect, and I mean perfect, like nearly match the pitch and everything. Hey, you guys, I really can.
Dude, we got to hear this now, Drew. You
it's
can't
like
just throw
loud.
that information out and not give
You know
us
that
the full
one scene.
treatment.
You know that one scene from it was a Conan interview, and he's like, I can do the scream from Tom and Jerry, but he had to like take the microphone off and walk to the other side of the room to do it. That's what I would have to do.
I mean, you can walk to the other side of the room. So.
Send us a recording of it later.
This is a really, really small room. I'm gonna walk like 4 feet from my computer and do it. I will. We're gonna save it. I can't do it just yet.
Okay.
I'm just gonna disappear off camera and just not warn anybody and just let it rip.
Oh my gosh. Well, while we're talking about Sloth, I do have a video of the behind the scenes that kind of shows like him having his prosthetics and stuff put on. And I think Richard Donner is actually the one that's kind of narrating this. This is from a documentary that is, it's like an unofficial documentary, I think, that someone made like several years, a few years ago, because like all the kids are, adults and stuff now in this documentary. But this is kind of a look behind the scenes at like the, makeup and the prosthetics and like all the stuff that had to go on to make Sloth look like Sloth.
Here's all these people running back like Charlie. Now they're putting their head on him. Oh my
He's watching
God, I
the
forgot all
old
this.
video camera.
Yeah.
Poor John. What an early death. What a
Yeah.
sweet, gentle lion. You've heard the story about John when it took hours to put this makeup on. And when we did the sequence in the water, when they first see the ship, and I said to the kids, whatever you do, don't get John's makeup wet, because if you do, it's going to get ruined. And they said, oh, don't worry, we won't. They jumped in the water and ran right up to John. Here, this guy had been in the makeup for 5 hours, never said a thing.
Wow.
He said, do I have to do this again? I said, I'm afraid. And I think he'd kill the kids. Oh my God, look at this. Look at that eye that we had
That's
to put
crazy.
in
It really
there.
is.
Slanting eye. And oh gosh, this process is extraordinary. Poor John. He died so young.
I didn't
Look
know
at-
he died
Look at the
young.
smile. It's that smile comes through. This was a sweet, gentle giant. Scary as hell. Even scary to me. But put his arm around you. And it was like, wow. Wow. I'm flying.
I love
Yeah.
Richard Donner's voice.
Yeah, man, he's got such a good
He has like a
voice.
radio voice.
He
It's
really
very
does.
calming.
He's just so easy to listen to. He should have a podcast. He should have
I have a
podcast.
fun fact about Sloth.
Yeah, go for it.
So in one scene, he's in the opening scenes for the most part of the movie. You notice he's wearing an Oakland Raiders shirt.
Mhm.
He played for the Raiders.
He did. Yeah, he played linebacker, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
He might have been on the defensive line. He was defensive line. It was something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
defensive lineman. Shout out to the defensive lineman. Hello.
Did you play D line?
Great. I did, yeah. I did indeed. So no, I think
boy.
a lot of people know that, but it's still cool to notice.
Is that your like, what is it? 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon to connect you to Sloth?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is that you both play D line? I mean, I don't know. That's exactly how that works, but close enough.
We're gonna say it does for this, yeah.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the prosthetics and stuff, dude. I don't know. Like, is it necessary? No, probably not. Like, you could have, had him play, kind of a retarded character.
It just could have been
has some
simulated.
sort of a mental handicap that they're upset about. But yeah, have him like be completely deformed and just go through that process. I mean, no telling how many times that he had to sit in that chair for 5 hours and have these prosthetics and stuff put on him. You probably could have done it without him, but would it be quite as memorable? Probably not.
Yeah. Well, and it sort of works with the movie's message for him, right? Which is, in the beginning, he's framed, as like this monster creature, and he looks scary. and then it flips in the end where he's, basically the ultimate hero and
Gentle
savior of the
giant.
movie and the nicest person. So that's sort of the, it works with that flip of audience. And then, of course, like a kid's expectations, right? Is, this guy looks scary,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're gonna come live with me now.
That line is still crazy. You're going to live with me now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, he's definitely designed as a character to like pretty much just turn you off immediately when you see him. Like you should be afraid of this guy when he first comes on screen. He's making like bear sounding noises like off in the distance.
I think it is
he's
like the
chained
sound
to a
of an animal
wall.
the first time that you hear it.
Yeah, well, I think they just added some bear sounds.
Yeah, it's like a sound effect.
Yeah, I don't know that that's actually him making noises. I think it's just like bear sound effects. But like he's literally set up to be like this giant, like terrifying creature of sorts, even though he's, just this big deformed guy. And I think that we are supposed to like feel some kind of, like scared emotions when we see this guy. Like, oh, he's going to like tear these kids' limbs off, especially Chunk, because Chunk's the one that spends the most time with him. He's the one that kind of, goes down there and like finds him and kind of has the first contact and becomes friends with Sloth. But, there's a point where you're like a sort of a fearful for Chunk's life. I think there's several times in this that you're fearful for Chunk's life. One of which is with Sloth. The other is when he gets caught by the Fratellis, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie because he's sitting there and they're like, all right, tell us everything. And he just like starts like spewing information about these things that he's done in his life where he cheated in school and did this and did that. And dude, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's so funny. Like every time I see it, it's just comical.
It's a nice payoff for the big running joke of the movie that he just constantly makes up these stories and pulls pranks on people and crank calls the police and stuff like that. And then when they capture him, he just tells every one of them. There's no telling how long that scene actually would have been if it wasn't just like started and then it was cut and then we caught.
They were there for 6 hours.
That's why the other kids got such a long head start, is because he had so many crazy stories to tell.
Yeah, it's funny how you have Mouth, who, is supposed to be the talkative one of the group. And he is, for sure. But, like, I don't know. I feel like almost at times Chunk's kind of on another level. Like, he just constantly is spewing information. Like, what's the deal? Michael Jackson came and, like, used the bathroom at his house. Isn't that the story that he tells his friends? Yeah.
No, but his sister did.
Well, yeah, but he tells him Michael Jackson came over, which I think, like one of the things, I don't know if this was written in because of this, but after I think they were finished shooting, or maybe in the middle of it or something, I think the directors or Spielberg or somebody like took all of the like cast, I think, to watch like one of Michael Jackson's last concerts or something, I think. They went to a Michael Jackson concert, and I think one of the child actors, I can't remember which one it was like relatively good friends with him, I think.
It was Corey Feldman.
Yeah. Okay.
The best the best lie that he tells is when he's on the phone with the police. And yeah, this is like the time all the Iranian terrorists took over the Western Sizzler restaurants. Or just Sizzler, not Western. The Sizzler restaurants in the town. All the terrorists taking over the Sizzler restaurants in the town.
Gremlin reference,
Oh, that
those
too.
little monsters that grow and you put water on them.
Yeah, man, I don't know. There's just so many like moments in this movie that stand out. But I do want to go ahead and start actually, I have one more thing before we start taking a look at a couple clips that kind of pertain to the pirates, and we can talk about the pirate kind of lore and things in this movie. But before we get to that, I have a log line looting, and this one is from a streaming service called Philo. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Philo or watched anything on Philo, but this is somewhere that the Goonies is currently streaming for free. And so I clicked on it, and I don't exactly know how I feel about this log line, but it reads, when two brothers find out they might lose their house, they are desperate to find a way to keep their home. They find a treasure map and bring some friends along to find it. They are all out looking for the X and trying to get away from a group of bad guys who also want the treasure.
What?
A scammer in Nigeria wrote that tagline.
They're looking for their ex.
It's what it says. They are all out looking for the X.
I hate it.
I mean, I don't know.
That might be AI. I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
Bad writing.
Well, I think I saw this one on a couple different websites. I don't know if that was just on Philo. Like, I want to say that's what Rotten Tomatoes says for the log line for this movie as well.
It's terrible.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of the point of the log line looting, Drew, is we take a log line off of a streaming service, and most of the most egregious ones come off of Disney Plus. But sometimes we do find some real stinkers out there. And if you read that on a streaming service, having never watched the Goonies before, not knowing anything about it, would that make you want to click on the movie and watch it?
It's debatable, but it's borderline middle to no.
I mean, I would probably say no.
I'd be intrigued, like, oh, there's pirates and this, and then it sounds lame. It's like two brothers and they take their friends. It's like, no, it's a whole. You got, I guess, without seeing the movie, you wouldn't be. And it's like a group of friends known as the Goonies goes on a treasure hunt. I was like, that
I think even the
either.
pirates, like, you would just kind of have to infer that there are pirates involved because it just says they find a treasure map and bring some friends along to find it.
I will say this is a hard movie to describe now that I think about it. There's too much stuff going on in it. It's one of those movies. It's like an omnibus, like weird glob in my mind of what it's actually about.
I mean, yeah, I guess a group of
kids
friends
look for pirate treasure.
A group of friends find a treasure map and embark on a journey.
What Stranger Things ripped off
to save their house from being turned into a golf course, but along the way are chased by a group of criminals. I mean, that sounds more intriguing than what this thing says.
More and more, every time I watch this, I'm convinced like the original cut of this could have been like 3 hours long. Because there's so much, and like even with the deleted scenes that are out there, there's still tons, I feel like, of exposition at the beginning and maybe even stuff in the middle that you can tell like was cut out. Yeah. Because again, the only part where they talk about the golf course only ever happens in ADR. Like lines that were recorded after. And I feel like there's probably another set of scenes where like they explain that they had to cut because they're like, this thing is way too long already.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few deleted scenes. I have one in the Google Drive that we could look at. I don't know that necessarily something we need to look at. It doesn't really pertain to pirates or anything like that. But there are quite a few deleted scenes for this movie. I think one of them that maybe was not even filmed was when they are first kind of going like into the tunnel and they have the pipes and they like shake the pipes around and stuff and it starts leaking water everywhere. Apparently that like freed gorillas at the zoo or something.
So, that's sick.
Yeah, I know. I was like, man, I would have actually liked to have seen that. So I think that got cut. There's a scene with an octopus, like that kind of, I almost think probably should have been in because there's kind of a line that is said by Data at the end about an octopus. That like everything was fine except for the octopus.
Which that's what's crazy is they could have cut that out like very easily. And they didn't. I think they were wanting to start conspiracy theories about the octopus when they left that line in.
Maybe, yeah. But I think that one was one that maybe should have been left in. The one that I have, is it's kind of, I don't know. It almost gives some context to like the group of teenagers in the car that drive by. Which I guess you're just supposed to infer the way the movie is cut that Brand knows them from school.
Right.
Whereas they do have a confrontation in the scene like literally right before this, which would then, lead them to throw him off a cliff.
Release the Goonies extended cut. Add back that hour.
Yeah, for real. So I think there are some different things, and this is like not a long movie. I mean, maybe it was long at the time, but I think it's like an hour and 54 minutes or something. I mean, that's relatively short for what it could be. I mean, you could easily probably push this out to 2.5 hours. Would it be better? I don't know.
Yes.
Drew says yes.
Sometimes more is just better.
I don't know about to get into pirate stuff here, but I got to ask, You got some of the best scenes with like gorillas and like comedy are like super low budget. It's like clearly like dudes in
that's
gorilla
true.
suits. I gotta know. It's just like a couple of extras in like gorilla suits, just like ooh, just like running around and escape from the zoo. You know, it would have been a great part for that movie. It would have been better than the dude getting blown off the toilet,
Oh yeah, dude.
That's
which was
true.
the
That's true.
bully. So it was funny at least.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I think the gorillas would have been funny. I think one of like my favorite of anything gorilla moments is when they have that gorilla show up in SpongeBob.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's
but
so
you're right.
random. It's so random. You can so obviously tell that it's just a guy in a gorilla suit. Like it's, I don't know, probably what you needed in this movie, honestly. It would have been funny. I don't know that it would add anything to the story if you had guys in a gorilla suit, but it would be dang funny.
It could have been one dude. It could have been me in a gorilla suit. And it would have made the movie better.
But yeah, no, I think some of the deleted scenes would be interesting to see, like just a full cut of things they cut out and kind of see, where things fall. One of the movies that we've seen recently that I have seen originally had a very, very long extended cut is Project Hail Mary. And like having read the book, I would love to see the extended cut because their first cut for that movie, which is like a 2 hour and 37-minute movie, I think, was 3 hours and 45 minutes. And I would like to see the 3 hour and 45-minute version personally. So,
You know what rumored extended movie I want to see? Revenge of the Sith. Apparently,
yeah.
there's a 4-hour cut where the
Yeah.
opening battle over Coruscant is the first hour of the movie alone.
no way.
I need that in my life. I need that in my life, yes.
Wow.
'Cause that's
Why
what
has that
number
not
three-
been released?
I don't know, man.
A lot of
But
the scenes aren't good.
We should
Because
start.
I've
Or
watched where
they were
someone
unfinished.
reassembled it.
They're
But-
unfinished too, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that was finished that's not in the movie. Like fully done CGI stuff that was cut. It's crazy.
That's
We're
terrible.
going to start a campaign on Twitter, release the Gooner cut, and it's going to be talk about the Goonies.
Hey, FIFA. I didn't say it, Ryan.
No,
I didn't
I
say
know, but I knew someone was going to bring it up.
I
at
was
some
making that
point.
joke as soon as we sat down to watch it the other day. I was like, "Damn,
He even found a poster that someone had AI generated that just says the Gooners, and it has like all the
Like-
kids
like
and stuff on
magazines?
the
Oh my gosh. That's rich.
wild
Dang.
wild times. All right, well let's go ahead and knock out some pirate stuff here pertaining to the Goonies. So there's several things in terms of piracy, I think, that fall into this movie. You have the treasure map, you have the search to go and find this not exactly buried, but sort of maybe buried, as it's just like on a ship in a cave in this big, like, I don't know, like tide pool, I guess, that is inside this cave. Very, very cool set, we'll say. And that was like completely practical and was done in the big Warner Brothers like lot, I guess. It was such a project that it was like the thing to come see. So I think Harrison Ford is like notably someone who came by while they were working on the movie and came and looked at this gigantic pirate ship that they had constructed. I think it's like one of the largest that's ever been done in a movie. It was based on Errol Flynn's ship in the Seahawk, but One-Eyed Willy's ship, which is what's in the movie, is named the Inferno. It was 105 feet long. It took 2.5 months to construct. The sails required more than 7,000 square feet of material. The largest measured 30 feet by 60 feet, and some of the ship's rigging was recycled for the Pirates of the Caribbean ship at Disneyland, which was being renovated at the time this was being filmed. So some cool things you do see on the TV in the background as well. One of the movies that we have done on this podcast, Captain Blood. So that was pretty cool to see and like be able to recognize like, hey, we know what movie this is because we have watched it for the podcast. So that was pretty cool.
I was going to ask if y'all knew what that was because I was curious.
Yeah. We did Captain Blood, I think in the first year maybe of the podcast or early last year. A pretty solid movie, honestly. Like I think we really enjoyed that one. But yeah, we saw that one like on the TV in black and white. We're like, hey, we know that guy. We know what that is. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, gigantic pirate ship. Like really cool that they did it practically. And one of the things that I think Richard Donner really wanted because they did shoot like this entire movie like in order. Was wanting to get like a real genuine reaction of like the child actors seeing this ship for the first time. And so I did find like a pretty cool little clip of Josh Brolin kind of talking about some of that and his first reaction to seeing the ship. So let's take a look at it.
And I've heard you talking about how the director kind of didn't trust you as child actors. He wanted your first reaction
for
to
the
big
ship.
pirate ship.
It was the biggest ship in all the studios. Warner Brothers has the biggest yeah, there you go, right there. And they filled it with water.
Oh,
and
wow.
the ship is practical. They would never do that today. But it would be digital, it would be this. But it was a practical ship. So we did the film for 4 months. They didn't show us the ship for 4 months. They didn't want us to see it. They had security and all that. And then they opened the door finally when they wanted that organic reaction of the ship. So they blindfolded us, they backed us all in, they put us in the water and they said, this is what we're gonna do. You get under the water. There was like one of those speakers in the water that was muffled. And they said, we're gonna say 3, 2, 1, you lift up, turn around, and all the cameras will be on you and you'll get an organic reaction. So we go, okay, and we go into the water and you hear, 3, 2, 1, go! And we all went up and we turned around and I looked at it and I went, fuck! And Dick Donner went, no! No!
It was a genuine reaction.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sure that he was like, dude, this is like
PG-13 Goonies, where that's the one F-bomb that
I mean, this movie's
part of the
PG, is
Goober
it not?
cut.
Or is it
Yeah.
PG-13?
PG.
Yeah, it's PG.
Yeah, I mean, that was not what he was going for sure. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah, I like
and,
that.
and it's cool that Josh Brolin, like, you know, still gets asked about that today. Like, hey, like, this is like, you know, this movie that was your literal first role on screen, and like, you had this funny story about it, and so now every talk show host is going to bring this up anytime they talk to you. So I know Conan O'Brien talked to him about it on a different podcast. He had talked about it on another show that I'd pulled an initial clip from. But yeah, it's apparently a pretty popular story for him to talk about. But, you know, it was also I thought it was really cool that, you know, they wanted to get that literal initial reaction. Like, no one can see this ship.
Yes.
Like, we need this for screen that's like, holy crap, like, this is the biggest, like, most extravagant thing we've ever seen on a movie set. And, you know, they're kids, so they haven't really done a whole lot at this point. But I just thought that was a pretty cool reaction. So how would you guys react if you saw that ship in real
Probably
life?
Josh Brolin
similarly.
did.
Do what?
The way Josh Brolin did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that would be really amazing to see that on that giant soundstage.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like,
I mean, that's got to be one of the like most crazy practical sets that anybody's built, right? Like, am I wrong? That tank had 900.
inside
They
of a
used.
studio thing, yeah.
They had 900,000 gallons of water that they
a lot.
used. Yeah, dude. I mean, just so much. And they had this big water slide that they had built that they go down to get into this cave. Like,
Which
can you
is
imagine
crazy.
being a kid acting on this movie? Like, that just sounds like
Amazing.
so much fun. You get to do a water slide. You get to jump into this big pool. You get to see this gigantic ship. Like, that sounds like the dream role. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it would be awesome. After that, which I understand why the guy who played Chunk was like, you know what? I'm good. I've got all of my life's needs fulfilled by being on this movie.
What is he doing
know.
now? He's a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. Like a entertainment lawyer. And I
Yeah.
think he's Kiwi Kwan's is what I read, right?
Shout out to Short Round.
For real, though. he's
That's why Harrison
much,
Ford
much
came to the
better
set.
in Indiana Jones, but he is pretty good at this movie. He's very funny. You can see it's his comedy sort of start to, you know, begin in this movie.
Yeah, you know, this is probably one of the few roles that he had because he kind of went a long time where he didn't really get any roles. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once was kind of maybe his like return back to acting because he'd kind of been blacklisted. Not by anything that he'd done. It was just like really hard for him to find work apparently. But yeah, I think he, you know, stands out as some of the comedic relief in this with his goofy gadgets that he has made.
Pinches of power.
He's got what? He's got like a punching thing that comes out of like his chest.
Mm-hmm.
He has oily shoes that like spit out this black, like oily substance. What else am I missing?
Even when I
Pinches
was a
of
kid,
power.
Oh,
Teeth.
that's the teeth one, right?
that's what I was gonna say. When I was a kid and watched it, the teeth part made me mad. I was like, "That's not realistic." Like of all the things in the movie, like that, like made me mad. I was like, "Why does it have to be plastic teeth? There's no way that holds on to the rock."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I
That's
said that
what
when we
bothered
watched
me.
it the other day. Yeah. Like it goes out and just like clamps onto this rock, and it's holding like him and maybe a couple other people basically up in the air, and it's like, dude, come on, this is so unrealistic. There's no way that this little spring and some fake teeth are gonna be able to hold people up. Ain't no way.
He's got the suction cup gun too.
Wait, what does he use that for?
In the first scene, you see him and he like shoots a barrel with it, and he tries to pull the barrel to him, and ends up flipping over the barrel.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's
later
true.
he tries to launch it at Mama Fratelli's gun and take it from her, and it ends up just pulling him over to her.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of his inventions are like pretty cool and useful. Some of them are like, yeah, no, there's no way that would work.
Very
that way.
Inspector Gadgety.
Well,
The
I
best
think
payoff.
I know the teeth one bothers you too, but that little bitty suction cup dart thing that he uses to like pull the barrel to him in the first scene is like, or pull himself to the barrel, I think is usually how that thing works. Is like, yeah, no, like we've totally played with those. They don't hardly stick to anything.
No.
Like you could shoot them at a window and they just fall off.
Mm-hmm.
The best payoff is that when his parents show up and his dad like has the same camera thing.
Yes.
And he's like,
Yeah, that's true.
and he speaks in whatever language. He's like, "You're my greatest invention." I was like, "Oh, so he's a failed inventor too." That was such a sweet little payoff.
Yeah, there's a lot of that gag of like, oh, the kids are just like the parents.
Oh yeah, the Chunk's dad shows up wearing a Hawaiian shirt,
And they bring pizza. They bring Domino's.
Yeah,
We thought
It's
you
also-
might
it
be
still cracks me
hungry.
up when he's holding up the Domino's box to like block Sloth from the police. I don't know why that is so funny to me.
Yeah, the Domino's
Shield.
box. The Domino's box is pretty great. It's so funny too that they're like encouraging him to eat. Like
Why'd you be hungry?
He's this chunky little kid. I mean, he's called Chunk, and he's like constantly hungry. He's eating ice cream. He's eating something almost at all times during this movie, and then his family's like, "Yeah, like we're gonna bring you a pizza. Of course, the whole thing's yours. Just eat all of it. We were afraid you might be hungry."
The best little like goofy like he's a little fat kid scene is when he opens the fridge after the one scene. Oh my god, I'm so stressed! Like, he just hits the whipped cream can just straight in the mouth.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at the ship real quick. We can kind of close that out, and then we'll get into Eyed Willy, which is the pirate that this movie is centered around.
Did the camera guy go down this too?
Dude, I think so. Yeah. I cut a little bit out of the beginning of it
that's
because
them
I
holding
didn't
it,
realize
too.
how long that this water slide scene was until I went to cut the clip and was like, oh, this is like a legitimately like long for a water park slide that they made. And this pool that they fall into is so cool with all the waterfalls and stuff coming down. I can only imagine as someone who like is big on audio trying to film and like record audio in this room.
It is.
Dude,
amazing
that ship
shot.
is so gigantic.
And it's great use of music as well.
Oh yeah, dude, the score hits super hard right there. I think that and the shot at the end where the ship is sailing away are probably like two of my favorite moments in the whole score. Like it's just,
And then the goofy little song that plays anytime Data uses a gadget. It's like a little army march. I like that one.
yeah, Yeah, but no, dude, I could just like imagine like being the sound guy on this movie, and you just have all this like crashing water around you. Like, I can just imagine that being a nightmare, and you can kind of hear it too in the dialogue on the ship, even though you know like the waterfall and stuff is a long way away. Yeah, when you like watch the stuff,
that makes sense, I guess.
like on the deck of the ship, like you can hear like the waterfalls and stuff in the background, which is kind of, which I don't know, maybe they like ADR'd that in, and that was, you know, just like sort of raw sound of where they were.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can like very clearly hear it in the background, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, let's get into the pirate for this movie, which is
Aargh.
One-Eyed Willy. Which Braxton told me the other day is a euphemism that's kind of dirty. So
I didn't know that until somewhat recently. I watched this movie as a kid a bunch of times, never thinking about that.
I mean, it's a cool pirate name, honestly.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And he has a cool eye patch.
Especially cool at the end when you realize, like, oh, this dude never had an eye. Like, his bone was just completely, like, grown. Like, he always was One-Eyed Willy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Also,
One-Eyed Willy.
Such a kid thing to do is to look under it and then, like, be scared.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But I do have a clip here that kind of is them in the attic that's talking about kind of the backstory of One-Eyed Willy. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll get our historical check from Christian.
I can't believe this guy helped take the ring to Mordor. It's crazy, bro.
Oh my gosh. I also love that he's like, how do I get this out of here? Let's hand it to the clumsiest person I know.
Get over here. Don't touch it.
They're like,
And then they
don't
do
touch
that.
anything because you'll break it. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to hand this to
Why
him.
me, Mike? Mike, take this up. There's a real big ball, you know, and it's got this big thing.
I also love the countdown. He's like, yeah, it's not going to take long for him to break this thing. This map is super cool. I saw that Sean Astin actually got to take the map home.
That's cool.
That was like his souvenir from
Sick.
set and stuff. And at some point, his mom just thought it was like an old piece of paper and threw it away. So I don't even know if it like still exists. So hopefully he got it back, but it did not. It did not appear that he did.
We throwing hands with mom.
For real though.
Guys, this map is old news. Everybody and their grandfather went looking for that when our parents were our age. I mean, haven't you ever heard of that guy? What's his name? The pirate guy, One-Eyed Willy.
Jack Sparrow.
One-Eyed Willy. Yeah, he was the most
Also-
famous pirate in his time. My dad told me all about him once.
Dad'll
I also
do anything.
love that he's like, my dad told me all about him once. I can recite all of it
I
right
can
now.
do my audition for the movie right now. Want to see?
Rubies and emeralds and diamonds.
Diamonds.
And he loaded it all up onto a ship, and they sailed away into the sunset until the British king, he found out about it, and then he set up this whole armada to go out after him. And then the armada.
This is very much like a kid telling a story.
Uh-huh.
This is my nephew telling a story right here.
And then-
This is me telling a story. What you talking about?
And Willie's ship, the Inferno, and during the firefight, there was just guns bursting here and cannons bursting there. And then Willie fled because he didn't want to stay around because he knew he'd get killed if he stayed around. And then he got into this cave, and then the British, they blew up the walls all around him, and he got caved in, and he's been there ever since. Forever, and ever trapped. Wow.
You sound just as corny as Dad does.
My dad tells me the truth. You know what he said? He told me that One-Eyed Willy and his bunch were down there for 5-6 years. And they were digging all these tunnels and caves, setting booby traps. Booby traps. That's what I said, setting booby traps. So that
Setting
anyone that tried to
booty
get in there would
traps.
die. And then you know what he did? He killed all of his men. Why? Why'd he kill all of them? Well, because he didn't want them to get to his treasure.
Yeah, wait a minute, Mikey. But if he killed all his men, how did the map or the story get out?
See, I asked my dad the same question. And he said one of the guys must have gotten out with the map and,
Hey, Mike,
and the...
I believe you.
Yeah,
I
it's
never knew if that was genuine or not. Him saying, "I believe you."
I don't either.
I still don't really know.
And like watching it back, several times while I was like, cutting this and watching it on YouTube and stuff. It almost feels like Sean Astin was continuing to say something, and they took another take of Chunk and kind of like overlaid the audio where he's just like, he just kind of cuts him off. So it's kind of like,
Possible.
it's kind of interesting because it like, I mean, they're kids, but it almost seems like he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just tired of hearing about this story. Like, the attention span is short enough. He's heard enough, and he's like, all right, let's move on to something else.
Cool story, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Christian, let's hear about some One-Eyed Willy, man. How historically accurate is this movie?
It is not very historically accurate.
Come on, bro. You're telling me One-Eyed Willy wasn't actually like, driven into a cave?
Unfortunately, no. Now, piracy was essentially non-existent on the West Coast, especially during the time period where this happened.
I wondered that.
But there is a treasure story underpinning that did inspire the Goonies in this exact area.
Oh.
And I will get into that. But let's talk about One-Eyed Willy. So they actually wrote, as most movies do, probably entire Bible about this guy that never made it into the movie. But there are
Was it one of those fancy books like they have in Pirates of the Caribbean?
Probably.
Like, what is that? The pirate, like, codex or something like that they talked about?
So One-Eyed Willy, full name William B. Portabell, otherwise known as One-Eyed Willy, was the pirate captain of a ship named Inferno. He was Flemish, which is a region...
Belgian, basically? Isn't that
yeah,
Flemish?
present-day Belgium. It was then Spanish Netherlands. He is given the name One-Eyed Willy in this movie, and they, instead of most pirate injuries, it was not something from battle. He was born with one eye. They wrote an entire backstory for One-Eyed Willy. He was once a court jester for the governess of the Spanish Netherlands. He was banished for telling off-color stories and playing practical jokes.
That's my kind of jester.
Following
What the hell?
this, he started his own pirate crew and stole millions in treasure from the King of England, Charles I. When Charles began retaliating, he sent out the entire Royal Navy. They chased down One-Eyed Willy, which I'm assuming that he would have had to go all the way around the southern tip of South America to end up in Oregon. And when he got cornered in a cave at low tide, the Navy fired on these cliffs and created a cave-in, sealing the Inferno. And it says that when they were stuck in there, he essentially killed all of his own crew members, set booby traps, and waited for himself to die. It's a crazy backstory, but
No kidding.
there is actually some truth to this area having a treasure legend, and let me get into it. So when they were scouting the area, trying to find a place for this movie, they picked a story for a few different reasons. Number one, the geography is crazy. Like, there are not many places in the U.S. like that. It looks very unique. The house is built on these cliff sides. Another thing is, there was a massive fire that wiped out Astoria in 1922. So they had entire neighborhoods where the homes would not be more than 60 years old, and that is exactly what they were looking for. It was hard for them to find that elsewhere. And three, when they were doing all this research, they found out that there was a local treasure legend that almost, like, pretty much directly inspired a lot of the pieces of this movie. There was a Spanish ship called Santo Cristo de Burgos, which came from the Philippines, was on its way to Mexico in 1693, and it sank off the coast of Oregon. And the only reason that anyone had a general idea of where it was and why they thought it was near Astoria was because the local tribes would find beeswax on the beach. It was primarily carrying beeswax, and a lot of it, because it was going to Mexico to be turned into candles for all the churches. They had Chinese porcelain wash up in Astoria for several centuries, and a lot of beeswax. Like, to this day, they would still find things. In 2022, They finally found 12 pieces of the hull of this ship. But for the longest time, it was believed to have been washed into a cave near Astoria.
Huh.
And there was no piracy attached to it. It was nothing more than a shipwreck with a lot of valuable stuff. But you can see how there's like that local underpinning.
Right.
And people would have been looking for this in the 80s in Astoria, and it would have been like kind of an obscure thing that maybe you had an uncle that was obsessed with. And you can see how kids can hear this story of a shipwreck and invent these other pieces of it. So I think in my mind, like, there's a lot more depth to the movie than just saying, oh, this is exactly what happened. I think it's a lot of imagination involved. And I think this is showing exactly how, I mean, most shipwreck stories are interesting, but the way to make them very compelling is to add a pirate and to add some sort of mystery, to add some sort of emotional weight and a curse. And I think that's exactly what happened. And they played upon that in a lot of the history in Astoria.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know that we have established in previous episodes that pirates didn't really hide treasure. They wouldn't really make treasure maps. They wouldn't really have a reason to make treasure maps because they weren't hiding anything, weren't burying treasure. But if they were, how likely would they be to have like something like the piece of silver with like things carved out of it that's like, hey, when you get to this point, like this lines up and will basically like point you to.
I don't know. Ask J.J. Abrams.
Well, I mean, I'm just curious because like
I think about that every single time now.
Like you have the map, you have this piece that seems to sort of be crucial to actually finding this treasure. If they were split up, you would have a significantly more difficult time, I would think.
Right. Maybe
So
that was the idea.
Theoretically,
Separate the information.
Theoretically, if pirates were to create, maps and things for treasure that they've buried or been forced to, I mean, it sounds like in the One-Eyed Willy story, they were driven into this cave. The cave has collapsed in on them. They didn't really have a good way to get out of the cave. So they've now created a map and things.
Plausible scenario
for why someone
would come up with for why there would be a treasure map that exists.
Yeah. Like
really, which is kind of crazy to think about.
In this scenario,
like this could have happened.
Yeah, like would you have done would you have made a map and like this silver piece, and I don't remember if there was something else. They had to have like a key or something at one point, I think,
Skeleton
that they found
key.
on Chester Copperpot's body. Yeah. So like you have multiple pieces that you would need. Like it almost seems like a national treasure kind of deal where it's like, hey, we have to go get this. We have to go get this thing. Like we have to go get the Declaration of Independence because there's a map on the back of it. And then we have to go over here and we have to get this thing. And we have to go get this thing. We have to have the, the Secret Lies with Charlotte. You have to have the little pipe to fit in the deal and actually open. I mean, like there's so many pieces. Like this sort of feels like a national treasure kind of like,
that
mystery.
Someone has laid out very
so in terms of like treasure legends where things are supposedly like El Dorado or something like that, is this maybe inspired because we've pirates didn't really bury treasure, but do you think this would have been inspired by maybe some of the other legends in terms of having like you have to have all these pieces at the same time to find this, and like even if you have like one or two pieces but you don't have the rest of it, like you'll never be able to access the treasure without all the pieces.
I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's such a good storytelling device because you've got a bunch of hoops you have to go through, and then the ultimate like.
And by the time you're going through it, you're not thinking about the logistics of
theme of all this movie, and like we've done this, like we've almost like lived the Goonies, like we've researched this stuff and we've been on location and like thought about finding stuff. Like the whole entire point was like getting there and all the research that went into it and like the people you met, and the journey was 90% of it. And I think that's why that they lean into these stories that you have to jump through all these hoops to get there.
Well, and I think in these stories as well, like they don't really, like whoever hides a treasure, like one, probably doesn't want people to really find it. And two, if they do, they don't want it to just be like, hey, we walked in a room and hey, there was just all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why, they put booby traps and different things. But like, I don't know. In terms of like treasure legends, just in general, like would they split up pieces and say like, hey, you from the crew take this, you from the crew take the map, you from the crew take this, and just go different places and like either keep these things, hide them. We just can't all have them together because people will be able to find our treasure.
Yeah, I think that's also I think that also has a lot to do with maybe military treasure stories as well, and secret societies when you have like the compartmentalization and wanting to splinter it in a way. But I think if I was stuck in a cave,
I mean, it says 5 to 6 years.
I don't know how concerned I would have been with like, oh, I have to make the ultimate puzzle for somebody to solve.
Build a piano.
Yeah, you have to build a bone piano.
Maybe they did that just because they were bored. They didn't have anything else to do. Like, let's just create the most elaborate traps.
That's the thing we underestimate
to screw
about
someone later.
Past decades is how bored they were.
That's true. They had nothing to do. Like,
well, and I kind of wonder. I mean,
it's like, do you want to go stare at the bug in the field for 5 hours? Yeah, let's go.
Okay, but if they could build all these tunnels, here's my biggest maybe problem with them and this treasure and everything, is if One-Eyed Willy and his crew could have built all these tunnels and booby traps and whatever, like, why didn't they just go to the surface and like slowly take all the treasure out? Like, that seems like it would have been a much more useful like way to spend their time rather than say, hey, we're going to booby trap these tunnels and make it hard for people to find, and we're going to leave this treasure here for someday. I mean, oh, sure, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if you were in that scenario and you have all this treasure, this gold, diamonds, rubies, you've got all these jewels, like why would you not try to take it out and like utilize it in some way, whether it was like you take it and load it up on wagons and go somewhere and try to spend it, or whatever that they could have done with it. Why would you just leave it in the cave on this ship?
I always sort of had it in my head that like the way it could have happened is like near the end, like maybe they were about to get out, and like that's when One-Eyed Willy, like, the captain basically broke and like went crazy and killed the rest of the crew. And then there was one guy that like knew he had to escape then and somehow found the rest of the way out to the surface.
I mean, did he go?
He was also killed.
Yeah. Did One-Eyed Willy go? Would he have gone crazy, or would someone else have been like, "I'm going to kill you and take all the treasure for myself"?
It's possible.
And so then he killed everybody. I mean,
are you suggesting a mutiny of sorts?
I mean,
we've seen it many times before.
It definitely could have been. So, I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's what happened. I mean, we don't necessarily get an explanation of.
It's in that book. In the book they wrote about the One-Eyed Willy.
Oh, I guess that's true.
It's in there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
My head canon is what it is.
Someone needs to make one of those, make like a 5-minute just AI slop movie of like One-Eyed Willy, like running away from the British, and like the scene where like the Armada attacks him, and then like them getting caved in, like building the booty traps.
We found this deleted scene from the Goonies. Check it out.
Oh my gosh!
Just make like, and then like the final scene is like the fight on board the ship, and then him just like croak back dying in a chair with his people around him and all the treasure on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Someone can make that, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of, I think we probably made about 10 million National Treasure jokes during this. I didn't mean to make that comparison a minute ago, but now that I was thinking about
I forgot we did.
I'm pretty sure when we watched this a few days ago, like this was something that we talked about was...
I got stuck on the Nick Cage voice.
Yeah, we just were like, hey, this is basically just like 1985 National Treasure without stealing the Declaration of Independence.
One-Eyed Willy back in the box.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had like, you know, Through the All-Seeing Eye and
It seems like it's some kind of an organ made of bones.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta play the bones.
Because
Play the bones
that has anything
here.
to do
You know,
with
Benjamin
that.
Franklin he made an instrument out of spinning glass. And shut up, Ben Gates.
Oh my gosh.
That was a
But
fantastic Nick Cage impersonation.
he's pretty good at it. Yeah. We had a segment on the question at hand for a while about National Treasure 3, and Braxton would like call in as Nick Cage to the podcast. Dude, it was freaking funny. But I do want to take a look at a clip of the treasure room because it's inside the ship. Like, it's actually real. They created this. And it's pretty cool to see like One-Eyed Willy, who's still there on the ship guarding his treasure, and like all of the, you know, coins and jewels and things that they had in here.
Fun fact, watch for this. In all the promotional materials before, One-Eyed Willy is in like a tricorn captain's hat, but in the movie, that hat never appears.
Maybe that's the one that Sloth is wearing.
He stole it. You know, I wonder, did they take the hat off because like he wouldn't sit in the chair right?
They might have.
Hi, Willie.
Hi,
I'm
Willy.
Mike Walsh. You've been expecting me, haven't you? I made
This
a
was
speech
his audition scene.
Got here in one piece.
Got here in one piece so far. It's a cool reveal of like, oh, this guy's always
That's
had
why
one
they call you
eye.
One-Eyed Willy.
Yeah.
One-Eyed Willy.
The inhaler,
We
man.
had a lot in common, huh, Willie?
I've got a fact about that too.
So, Willie, you're the first Goonie.
You're the first Goonie.
How's it going? This is Willie.
Okay.
One-Eyed Willy. Say hi, Willie.
They're all like, oh my God, Mikey lost his mind.
Say hi, Willie. Oh man, it's such a cool room, dude.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
It's so cool.
I want to eat like Taco Bell in that room. So good.
I mean, Taco Bell would be a top tier like treasure room meal.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question for you, Drew. If you had to eat something from Taco Bell in this room, what would it be?
Well, how about a discontinued item? The grilled stuffed burrito.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
peak. I'm also a bit of a Mexi Melt guy. They discontinue those. You can still make
A
one.
treasure in and of itself.
Dude, the one that I always complain about that they discontinued was steak grilled taquitos.
Possibly even a quesarito would slap in there. Or when they did the chicken flatbread, which is just a better version of their quesadilla. Actually, a Mexican pizza would hit pretty well in there, too.
Don't tempt Braxton. He's a Mexican pizza fiend.
Wait, what about the inhaler?
When I read about the backstory,
Are you on the wiki? Are you on the Goonies wiki?
that was one of my sources. Yes.
You know, I do wonder. I bet there was a novelization for this. I don't know. But a lot of times in the 80s, right, there would be novelizations for these movies based on the original scripts. And they would often have a lot of this extra info in it.
I've got to find this out right now.
But it says in the early versions of the script, One-Eyed Willy was meant to be asthmatic, like Mikey.
Okay.
This was dropped in the final version as asthma was relatively new medical discovery and would not have been understood in the times One-Eyed Willy was still alive.
I guess I'm sort of curious. What difference would it make if One-Eyed Willy was asthmatic? He's dead.
I guess.
Also, yeah,
like,
if they want to do that, just make Mikey have one eye.
would they have just made him like connect better in that moment? Because obviously they left it in the script that he hit his inhaler.
It's a screenwriter trying to do something.
Well, yeah, but
you know what I mean? That didn't quite work.
Dude, that's such a stretch. Like,
it's a better moment to have him say you're the first Goonie to kind of wrap it around and tie it up than probably
The
what they're
inhaler
originally trying to
stuff.
write, right?
Yeah,
I also hate that in the end, and I even hated this as a kid, just like the teeth thing. In the end, he goes, who needs it? And he throws away his inhaler, implying, I guess that in the 80s, like, you're just weak if you have to use an inhaler, and you become strong at the end of the adventure, and you can throw away this medical device that you need.
I don't know. Maybe
Like, that's not good.
Maybe freeing the ship cured him of One-Eyed Willy's asthma curse. I mean,
It did. It did.
No, it was
Also,
definitely the tongue
but
kiss
I guess
on
my
the
question is, how on earth would we, as the audience, know that One-Eyed Willy has asthma and there's any kind of connection there?
Can you imagine them trying to shoehorn that into like a modern movie?
Oh, but see, that's the thing, though. In a modern movie,
It's
they
like-
probably would.
It's like, oh my gosh, you were also a disabled fill in the blank something something just like me. Oh.
Right. They would
Deadpan to the
definitely
camera.
they would definitely tell and not show.
You're they, them, just like I am.
They would tell and not show in that case for sure.
Oh wow,
But, like-
really had the same pronouns as me.
Something that I always
to the camera.
noticed about like that scene, which you cut part of it, which I understand because it's super long.
It is super long.
When when Brant is there, or Mikey turns around and Brant is there, and other people.
How
it's
long
like,
have you been standing there?
And he goes, long enough,
for-
Mikey. I always thought that he was about to go, long enough, Mikey. And by the way, you're going to see a therapist when we get home, like a psychiatrist, because you're nuts. You're talking to a skeleton as if he's real. Like, this was a fantastical adventure, but you're having an interaction with this skeleton like he's talking back to you, and you need to go to a doctor.
Do
I
we have
need a
clip?
really fast time out here. Can you do me a favor here? Can you do some of that Mikey talking to One-Eyed Willy as if it was Nick Cage? Really, you've been expecting me.
Yeah, because that's something Nick Cage would do. That's very Nick Cage, isn't it? To go up to a skeleton and be like, Willie, you've been inspecting me. I beat you. You're the first founding father, One-Eyed Willy. You inspired America. No, save that. That's for Willie. How long have Riley? How long have you been standing there? Long enough, Ben. Long enough. Now I'm gonna go get my red Corvette or Ferrari, whatever he drove.
It's a Ferrari, isn't it? Or is it Lamborghini? It's some kind of a sports car.
It's a Ferrari.
I'm pretty sure it's a
I
Ferrari.
inserted Riley into my scenario.
I'm pretty sure a red Lamborghini would just look weird. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but like that's definitely a Ferrari color.
Yeah, redo the Goonies with Nick Cage in the lead role.
Do we have the clip at the end when they're on the beach and there's that really creepy line that we can't figure out what it means?
No, but I know what you're talking
What?
about.
Which line?
Okay. So we watched it the first time. Christian goes, "What the heck?"
Probably
It's
not.
It's the part when I get what they were trying to do because it's a freaking asthma thing. They the girl that Andy who accidentally kisses him sort of gives him a little thing and is saying you're a good kid, whatever, trying to be sweet to him, and then she's like something the parts of you keep kissing girls like that, and the parts of you that don't work so good are going to catch up. Meaning, in the weird convoluted thing of this movie's obsession with asthma and getting over it, that his asthma will go away and he will become a man and kiss women.
Maybe the real One-Eyed Willy's the friends we made all along.
Yeah, but the reason why Christian was like, what? Because it's like implying that there's something wrong with them, like.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have the clip of that. Unfortunately, you should have requested
Which I never,
that one.
I never noticed that line, even as a kid watching it. Like, not even like thought about it. Like, I never even noticed it until we watched it, and Christian goes, "What? What did you
We
say?"
all were like, "Wait, what did she just? What does that even mean?"
That is levels above the opening of the movie where Mouth is translating the stuff to the housekeeper.
Oh, dude,
this is where
Which
the
is
drugs
also
go,
crazy.
and that's the like sex dungeon chamber up there. Or whatever.
Like, that's crazy.
If you do something wrong, we will lock you in here with the cockroaches.
Oh my god.
Oh man, yeah, genius writing. on that part. I mean, that's just so funny.
And the octopus was crazy.
No, I do not think I have a clip of that, although that is hilarious. Interesting fact, though, about One-Eyed Willy in that scene is that One-Eyed Willy's skull was actually made from real bone. So I don't know, like, where.
But it's not a real skull?
I don't know. I think.
Why did they just get a real skull?
But I'm also kind of like, whose skull is that?
I can get you a toe.
Like, did they get a credit in the movie after they were dead? Like One-Eyed Willy, and it says like their name, even though they.
Yeah, hey, that'd be cool though.
Business idea.
Get your bones. Yeah, and we make our own like kiln thing, like in 28 Years Later, and be like with Ray Fiennes and just putting people in there.
Wait a minute.
Get their bones out. It's clean.
What if instead of donating your body to science, you donate your bones to horror movies? And it's like, dude, my Uncle Rick died 5 years ago, but his skeleton is in this vampire movie.
His skeleton's in the new Blumhouse movie.
You see that? Yeah, Nicolas Cage punches my dead uncle skeleton.
Bro, my grandpa was Parkington Lane. He's in National Treasure. He's Parkington Lane skeleton.
Why do you have to donate it to science? What about all the other subjects?
Oh my gosh!
I donate my skeleton.
Oh my
donate
gosh!
My skeleton to history.
Yeah, but don't we all do that?
Holy cow. Okay, I do have one more thing, and then we probably need to get into bingo pretty quick here. So apparently this was also cut out from the movie, but it is the Goonies Oath, and it goes as follows.
It's in the novelization.
Do what?
It's in the novelization. I found the storybook.
I mean, probably
$65.
But the Goonies, the Goonies Oath goes as follows. I will never betray my Goondock friends. We will stick together until the whole world ends. Through heaven and hell and nuclear war, good pals like us will stick together until the whole world ends. Good pals like us will stick like tar in the city or the country or the forest or the boonies. I am proudly declared a fellow Goonie.
I would take that oath. That sounds
apparently
sick.
they had an oath.
Also, by the way, if nothing could tell that this took place in like the mid 80s, the fact that in their oath they have to mention the threat of nuclear war,
through heaven and hell and nuclear war,
like mutually assured destruction in their children's oath.
Yep,
it was on the brain. That's cool though. I do kind of want to check out the novelization now.
So I found it on Amazon. I sent it to you on the little chat thing, but it's a vintage movie tie-in paperback, and then there for $360 the Goonies storybook based on motion picture from Warner Brothers screenplay, and it's it's a storybook. And then there's a book here. I have no idea if it's canon or not. It says Before the End: The Adventures of One-Eyed Willy and His Friends.
What?
$17.95 on Amazon.
Huh.
I don't know if it's canon or not. I don't know.
If that shows up in the background of Braxton's set on the next episode, we'll know he bought it. So.
What a flex. See that back there? Yeah.
That's a cool find. That's a cool
the
find.
One-Eyed Willy Codex. Sick.
All right. Well, before we get into our pirate bingo here, I do want to take a look at one clip, because if we don't, what is this episode? Like, let's just be real. You want to play pirate?
AC/DC.
It's terrifying.
AC/DC. Oh, man. I mean, how many movies have we had where someone walks the plank?
Very few.
I mean, this is checking off one that not very many have come by.
Who's next?
I just the Fratelli brother right there that's pushing him off the plank that has the wig, Bill Burr.
Dude, the waterfalls in the background are so loud.
They are.
Knife down the sail. I mean, dude, like this scene alone covers a ton of pirate bingo.
And then the shred up the Captain Blood theme.
Is that what this is?
Yeah. Not exactly, but
Give me a sword. Captain Chunk says, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that brother sounds identical to Bill Burr.
Dang, AC/DC got rocked.
What's that over there?
Oh my gosh, just a great scene. Then they have a sword fight. Like it's just fun, man. It's one of the highlights of the movie for sure.
all right. Bingo time.
Bingo time.
All right. So here's the first thing we can debate.
Wait.
Are you guys?
Wow.
That was amazing. That was beautiful.
It's the first thing I would do when I go to a workshop in the morning. Just walk in, just
scream,
just announce that I'm here, and there it is.
It's beautiful.
I had to text my wife a warning that was about to happen. It's going to get really loud.
Just so you know, I'm not dying. We're just yelling. That's awesome.
If you know me at all, it's like that's just.
It's just
true.
par for the course.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
it's completely normal behavior.
Normal day at Drew's house. All right, Braxton, let's cover some Pirate Bingo real quick so we can get our ratings. We're like an hour and a half into this thing, man.
Question is, though, do we want to mark that they don't get to keep the treasure, or do you think they got to keep the treasure by the diamonds and that's how they saved the town?
I mean, I think they kept some of the treasure, so
I think it's enough, so we can.
I think
mark
it's enough, yeah.
Because that happens often, is they either give it up or lose it in a funny way or something.
Yeah.
There are plenty of treasure chests on Eyed Willy's ship. There's a sword fight. There is obviously Eyed Willy's ship. There is the Jolly Roger on the ship. They do say me hearties, which is a technicality because it's within Captain Blood, which is another movie that they're watching in this movie, but I'm going to say it counts.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We never had that before
Sure.
within another movie, There's Mouth does sort of a West Country accent when he's talking about the map. There is a mention of the Royal Navy because the British, cause the cave in.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tricorn hat. There are piles of gold treasure. They do walk the plank, which has only been in a few other movies. It happens in Hook and Peter Pan. They do wear a giant Cavalier type hat in the attic. Obviously, there's an eye patch. They're probably one of the best maps we've ever seen.
Yeah.
They do say booty in the form of booty traps, although it's not the typical context.
That's true. True.
Chunk puts the cutlass between his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
They do say the word pirate. They do the knife down the sail, which is a pretty rare one. And I added a new one to the bottom of the list, which is featuring not booty, but booby traps. I feel like that may have been in something before, but it's pretty rare. But I feel like sort of because of this movie, it's sort of become associated with pirate stuff,
Yeah.
having sort of secret traps and things like that. So that is now on the list. So
Sweet.
it's really not the highest, which isn't surprising, but
No,
it
but
has some rare
There's
ones.
a lot. Well, and
which
that
not
was a
many other
lot of
movies
stuff
have.
that you just named off too. Like we've had plenty that have had 5 or
Mm-hmm.
6, and that was 10 or 15.
Yeah, I'd say it's middle range.
And it's not. This isn't a strictly pirate movie either. There is
Mm-hmm.
a pirate and there's a legend and there's a ship, but other than seeing his skeleton, we don't actually see a pirate in this movie at all.
Except on the TV when Captain Chunk.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's true, Captain Chunk. I'd be afraid of him. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into our ratings. So, in terms of a general rating, I think this movie's really good. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite movie that we've watched on the podcast, just because, man, there are some bangers that we have watched. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl definitely is one that stands out in terms of like being an 8 out of 8. But for this one, I gave it a 7 out of 8. Pretty respectable rating. A whole lot higher than the freaking last Pirate that we watched last month, as that movie was a just general stinker, just kind of across the board in terms of general and piratiness. Just not very high on either one of them. But for the Goonies, gave this one a 7 out of 8 on general score. And then in terms of piratiness, I'm kind of between a 5 and a 6. So, I mean, there's quite a bit of things that I think, lead this to be pretty piratey. I'm going to lean more 5, I think, for the Goonies, because there is a lot there. But, it is still lacking a lot of things in terms of what we would think about as a pirate movie. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 8 on the piratiness.
Well, you did bring up the last Pirate. This was better than that in some ways, although this did not end as you always want pirate movies to do, which is with a
park ranger
cliffhanger showing a modern day park ranger becoming cursed.
Jesus.
This had a lot of cool parts, and it had the cool, folkloric pirate draw to it. So I think as a movie overall, again, it's dated in a way that may not be like the most appealing to broad audiences, but I loved it. It definitely has its market. I would give it a 6. I think it's definitely in the top maybe like 5 movies we've watched so far. Mm-hmm. Just being enjoyable. And then with the piratiness, I will give it another 6. Because although it was a smaller part of the movie, it was the driving force of the entire plot. Some really cool stuff. One of the best sets we've seen. It captured like all of the stereotypical things that we look for in these movies. So I think it's a double 6 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the same ballpark with y'all for the piratiness. I'm going to give it a 6. Because while this one ends up where the sum is bigger than the little parts that make it up, right? And a sort of the spirit of the movie and then the treasure hunt is obviously sort of meant to be, inspired by the tropes of the pirate ideals that we've come to see in other movies, whether they're true or not true. It's sort of in this movie. As far as overall, I could give it a 7 out of 8, but I'm going to give it an 8 out of 8. Just because I think...
Look at this man.
It's not perfect. And I obviously think, for example, like Curse of the Black Pearl, I probably gave an 8 out of 8 too also. It's not on that same level, but I think for what it is, like what it's doing and how kind of unique it is, really, in a weird way.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of like the perfect movie of like its type. Like, I don't know of another movie that's quite as good or as interesting or unique in its style. So 8 out of 8.
I am going to say 8 gold doubloons out of 8 as far as how much I like it and how good it is. And yes, a lot of that is nostalgia, but
it
whatever.
Doesn't matter.
It's what I like.
It still counts.
It's up to you, man.
Like I said, it's a movie me and friends and family grew up a ton watching. It wasn't anywhere streaming, and I was like, I'm not trying to do streaming this thing. I own my microphone. I own a copy of this thing from like years and years ago. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it right now. Nice. And then as far as piratiness, I mean, I guess never considered to be a pirate movie. It's like a adventure movie just based on a pirate story. But like I said, by the end of the movie, I guess when y'all did the pirate bingo, it added up to be quite a bit. So yeah, I'd give it 6 peg legs out of 8 on pirate stuff. How about that? on how piratey it is. Actually, I don't, maybe Ryan's right. Maybe closer to 5, but 5, 6. Medium high.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could easily go like 6 on this and just match all you guys. Like it's pretty piratey. I think there's some things that are missing from it in terms of like it being, one of the movies that we look to in terms of not strictly a pirate movie, but like this is the most piratey, like non-pirate movie or most piratey movie without like a pirate as the main character.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, I think this could be potentially one of those
sure.
if it had a couple other things in it. I mean, honestly, other than
at the end, One-Eyed Willy should have come back to life and actually had a conversation with Mikey. Then
it could have been Harrison Ford. He was on the set. It could have been Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's true.
But he sounds like Skeletor.
That would be pretty wild. That would be pretty wild.
Willy.
I don't know. Maybe I should give it a 6 on my piratiness score because there was a lot of stuff in this one. I mean, how many pirate movies do we see with actual pirates where they just don't do much of anything? Like at least Sloth swung on a rope on this giant ship they created.
I was about to say he in 5 seconds, him and Chunk check off lists of more things than some pirates in the other movies we've watched.
I know. Maybe I should.
Which
You're
is kind
saying
of
they're
amazing.
the pirates who don't do anything?
That movie has almost nothing to do with pirates because we watched it on this podcast as well. Yeah, it was not.
We didn't watch Jonah though. That's still.
That's true. That's true. That's one that may have to make an appearance at some point. But I don't know. Maybe I should give this a 6 because I mean now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like we've given some stuff, or I personally have given some stuff like a 4 that was not nearly as piratey as this. And I feel like there needs to be a little bit of distance between this. So maybe a 7 and a 6 is where I should land on this in terms of my ratings. And last but not least, should we induct this into the rated Aargh Pirate Cinematic Universe?
What other movies are in this cinematic universe? I must know the criteria here before I land an opinion.
I have no idea.
I feel like this is
so.
out of my depth
The
here.
criteria is kind of
I'm a tourist.
questionable.
The criteria moves around, but
Yeah, I have the list here as of right now, and I don't think that we have talked about this recently that I'm aware of. So, because we didn't even discuss the Hall of Fame on the last episode because the movie was so bad. But as of right now, in our Hall of Fame, the Pirate Cinematic Universe, we have Treasure Island, 1950 Treasure Island. We have Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, Cutthroat Island, Captain Blood, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, and At World's End, The Pirates, Band of Misfits, and Mutiny on the Bounty. We also have a couple miscellaneous things that we have inducted in. Captain Hook from Peter Pan we inducted in, not Captain Hook from Hook. We jokingly inducted in The Chest with Winnings from Dodgeball. And we inducted in a floppy sword from the Pirates because that's the most unique sword that we've seen so far. So I mean, there's a pretty solid list. I would honestly be perfectly fine putting the Goonies in there because it's really the first one that we've done that has had a legitimate pirate treasure legend.
Mm-hmm. I think this is the first one we've done where it follows the folklore of the pirates.
right, it's a group of people
outsiders
separate from the
looking
pirates
in.
following the treasure later.
It's pretty cool. We're not following a pirate storyline. We're following unrelated people, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
I think we should put it in. I'm okay with putting it in.
I vote yes.
Okay. I vote yes as well. Drew?
I get a vote here? I thought I
Oh,
would
yeah,
get to
man.
vote in the,
Nah,
in the
you're
event of
our
a
guest. You get a
tiebreaker, but
You get a
heck
vote.
yeah, for sure.
Let's
And
go.
then for honorable mention, you got to do the scene from Step Brothers where they get pirate hats as they're up in their treehouse. We got pirate hats and crossbows.
That's amazing. It's like a 1 second
That's so funny.
Chewbacca mask.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we've got some fun sound effects now. So the Goonies. inducted into the Rated Aargh Hall of Fame. So congratulations, Goonies. Excited to add that one to the list. Anything else before we close this bad boy out?
How loud was my "Hey You Guys"?
It was pretty loud, honestly. We could hear you very clearly.
I do get what you mean. Like, so there are some things that you just have to do loud. That's the only way that it works.
Oh, for sure.
You can't "Hey You Guys."
You can't halfway do it.
Just doesn't have the same. Just doesn't have the same effect.
Hey, you guys. Benjamin Franklin.
All right. Well, guys, it's been fun. Drew, thanks again for joining us. Really glad to have you on. May have you back at some point for another movie if you're willing. I know your schedule is about to get going here in a couple weeks, I think.
Next week, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
very
I had
quickly.
equipment leave out this morning, but I'm not going with it. I got something else to go with.
Oh, dang. Okay. Anything that you would like to shout out before we close this thing out?
I'd like to bring over my little emotional support Godzilla here. if you like Godzilla, feel free to check out Monster Island Lore Seeker on YouTube. That is my channel. Well, it's halfway my channel. It's my friend. He has a bunch of other channels, Star Wars Lore Seeker. And I jokingly said, hey, I'll do a Godzilla one with you. And it was a joke. And he called me like 2 weeks later. He was like, all right, what's the name of the channel? We're starting it. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm committed at this point. So if you like Godzilla or want to learn about Godzilla without spending like a ton of time on the internet, like nearly all of our videos are shorts. And we don't do any like clickbait or like weird stuff. So it's just straight facts. Just pull up a 45-second video. Oh, I just learned about this monster character. Cool, thanks, good day.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's fun. I just do it on the side. So that's definitely something to check out there if you like Godzilla or think you might. Or you should check it out anyways because you should like Godzilla.
Heck yeah. Yeah, definitely go check out Drew's channel, Monster Island Lore Seeker. Guys, it's almost time for us to take this ship to port, but before we do, wanted to make sure you found our proverbial message in a bottle detailing next month's movie of choice. So coming May the 10th, we'll be looking at our first comparison movie as we get to take a look at Muppet Treasure Island. So we'll get to look at kind of how that one compares to the original 1950 Treasure Island that we've seen. So that'll be a good time. I don't know if that movie's any good or not.
I've heard it's good.
We'll find out. As far as I'm aware, it's streaming on Disney Plus if you'd like to go watch it before we do the next episode. So definitely try to watch Muppet Treasure Island so that you're not lost and maybe you just like Muppets. Am I a Muppet? Or am I a man? Different movie. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We hope you enjoyed The Goonies, and we can't wait for you to join us on our next adventure.